too funny.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Martha. How are
All
you?
right. Hi, I'm really well. How are you?
I'm great. My name is Eric.
I
This is
see it.
really,
It's right there.
it's
It's
right
right there. Your
there.
name's right, and so's
It-
mine, right there.
You're right there. This is really kind of fun because we're almost the same age. We're very, very close. And
Oh,
I, I sort of feel like I grew up with watching you and with you for my life and your career. So
oh.
it's really fun to talk to. I mean, I
When's
think
your
I might
birthday?
December 19th.
Yeah. Okay. November
And you're
16th.
yeah, so it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously going back to the Goonies and Mosquito Coast and everything, but I might even remember your after school special.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, I
The
think most
hand-me-down kid.
yes, and I mean a lot of us in that era, after school, if you had your mom working or something between 3 and 6 o'clock, you had your after
That's
school
right.
specials.
That
And
was it was the perfect show for latchkey kids,
it was
which is what I
absolutely fun.
was.
Yeah, same,
Yeah.
very same. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
See, I knew it. We're basically the same.
Basically the same. I'm just gonna fix
um,
this because it's making a glare.
I know. Tell me about it. I'm like trying to like go in front of my poster here. It's
Okay.
all good. You look amazing too, by the way.
Thank you.
You
Thank
should
you.
you should be in Wes Anderson's French Dispatch with this look.
I
It's
agree. I
gorgeous.
agree. I should.
I mean, you should
Why don't you let him
anyway.
know? Why don't you give him a
Yeah.
call and let him know?
Okay,
I
we'll
love
green
his
screen
movies.
you
So
in.
yeah, yeah. I love his movies. I love everything he does. I would love to. I wish I was in that.
Oh God, I think you would be perfect in that.
Thank you.
Um, I'm so glad that we're all kind of getting out of our quarantines and sort of finding our way out of
Hmm.
the pandemic. But how did it treat you? I did read you got into bread making, but did you find anything about yourself that was unexpected during that time?
You know, yeah. Um, well, I found that well, I don't know if it was unexpected, but I found that I really do well by myself. I really do a good job by myself. And I like being by myself. I like gardening. I liked baking bread for about a week. Then I tried to do the sourdough thing, and I was like, you know what? This is a pet I don't want. I don't need this pet. I also I also discovered that I can very easily sleep 20 hours. Not a problem for me. Really easy.
I
And
love
that's when I decided I had to adopt a couple of little senior puppies because I love dogs and I've had dogs for many years, but I was Sans dog at the beginning of this thing, and I'm good alone. I'm good alone when it comes to people, but I need a creature. I need a dog to care for and love and to cuddle with and to keep me company and to get me out of the house and to walk it,
exactly.
So yeah, so I adopted a couple of senior rescue dogs who were both COVID orphans. And I love them. I love them so much.
That's beautiful.
So
Oh,
yeah,
that's wonderful. I love that.
yeah.
Yeah, I hear
But
you.
yeah, and I also discovered that well, I knew this already too, but I can garden easily 12 hours a day, nonstop. I love gardening. Love it.
That's those are
More than
both.
cooking, more than I like cooking, I love gardening.
I like that both the dogs and the gardening are an extremely nurturing
Yes.
things. Both of them are in such
Yes.
different ways. That's
Hmm.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about generation, which I am I love, and I can't
Thank
wait that
you.
it's coming back.
I
Uh,
know. June
yeah,
17th.
I know. I just got my screeners last night, so I started watching a few,
Oh,
but I
good.
can't
Very
say anything.
good.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, so let's talk a little bit about Megan, which I mean,
Yeah,
you've played some kind of characters like this before, usually with a slightly more comic bent to them, like
yes,
younger, which I think is hilarious. So
yeah.
there's a neat balance here with comedy and drama for the show, but also for Megan. Would you describe Megan as a conservative, and do you think she would describe herself that way?
Yes, I do think she would describe herself that way, but I think she would describe herself as a sexy conservative. She believes that there's nothing wrong with sex, and sex is healthy, and God gave you this body, and he gave you the ability to experience pleasure in this body as long as you're married and straight. Um, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And I think that she would, she would call anyone else who wasn't, able to have gay friends. She would call them a bigot. She wouldn't call herself a bigot because she has one set of one gay couple who are her friends. But I think she thinks that, what they do is, you know what? Hate the sin, not the sinner. That's what she
Mhm.
would say. Do you know what I mean? She wouldn't go so far as to reject them from her life. She would just say, it's not up to me. It's God's choice. And, yes, you will burn in hell, but that's none of my business when it comes to her friends. When it comes to her children, it's a very different story. Very different.
Yeah, I it
And yeah, and that opens up a whole other can of worms that, is connected to other things in Megan's life, like, her marriage slowly sort of quietly disintegrating, and the fact that her kids, while they're still in the home and they're still there, they feel like they've already left her. you know she feels sort of abandoned by them and rejected by them, which is common for, with teenagers anyway.
yeah.
But yeah,
And
there are all kinds of compounding things there going on.
yeah, and as twins, it's happening at the same time instead of like a staggered, you've got the
Exactly.
teenager and then you have the kid that's kind of you can still hold on to.
Hmm.
They're both really taking these
Yes.
divergent paths from each other and
And she and
definitely
and
from
she's
her.
got her eldest daughter who's gone off and got married and presumably lives in another state,
Yeah,
and is probably most like Megan, but she doesn't have her around,
yeah.
you know.
He's without an ally in her, whatever
Yes,
it
she
might be.
is. Yeah, exactly. In her whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is really fascinating about the show is because it's so primarily teenagers, often you get, showrunners and writers that are much older. So the language doesn't always seem to sync up. But your
Hmm.
show has the voice of a teenager as its creator.
Hmm. Yeah.
How has that been in not just creating more realistic dialogue, but just to work with?
I think it's been really incredible. And I think it's one of the many sort of special things, and one of the things that I truly love about this show. I was saying yesterday or whenever it was that even the way that even Megan is written, I mean, is very honest, more honest than if an adult had come up with the character. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
An adult would either feel the need to justify or, somehow explain this person or somehow, but there's no need for that from Zelda, and by extension, Daniel, who's co writing with her, but very much taking his cues from Zelda. He's doing an amazing job of helping her with the practicalities and with the technical realities of this.
Yeah.
Not that she needs that much help because she really is quite brilliant, but you know what I mean. Just his
Yeah.
experience is an incredible, sort of addition to her imagination. But also his ability to sort of see her, hear her voice, and really stay faithful to it and really honor it. And you know what I mean? That's been really, really great. But I think the way it manifests, and I think, you know, you'd go, well, it's expected for the kids to a certain extent, but for the adults, it's just as honest, and it's just as gripping and gut wrenching, because there's no one there, you know, with qualifiers. There's no one there making excuses. There's no one there trying to qualify any of these things, or, you know, justify any of these things. They're all just coming straight out, which I think I've never really seen before.
Yeah, there's not a lot of filters to it, so what
No.
comes through is pretty raw, and when that happens, you, at least as a viewer, you think you're getting this extremely you know, unsieved, unfocused group version of a character, and it doesn't matter,
Yes.
yes, if it's one of the kids, or if it's Megan. You mentioned
Hmm.
her friends, Joe and Patrick, her
Hmm.
gay friends, and that scene when they're sitting outside and talking about your son has
Hmm.
this feeling of exactly that, of that honesty, but it's a pretty ugly honesty too.
Hmm.
And you can tell that she uses Joe and Patrick definitely as a shield
Hmm.
for people around her, and uses them really more as clout than almost anything else. It's the, I can't be homophobic, I have gay friends.
Well, yes, I mean, that's true, but also she knows them from before.
Yes.
And you know, and when Patrick came out, she was there for him and she supported him. She knew him in his previous life. So I think that relationship, it naturally has to continue. She's not going to say, "Oh, now I won't be your friend anymore," because that would be unchristian of her, do you know? Um, so, but I think it's developed into a relationship that serves her in this context. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas it
absolutely.
wasn't that to start with. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was
Yeah.
thinking. And if I'm not sure if you, when you have your, you know, character in place, do you create your own backstory of that? I wonder if Megan was much more liberal when she was younger and then grew into a more conservative person being in Orange County, and just
Hmm.
might have this whole, you know, I'm socially liberal, fiscally conservative kind of thing, and changed.
Well, she obviously she married young, and we sort of talked about it that presumably her first pregnancy was an accident, and that's probably why they married, and they probably were part of a church or part of some community, but that as the years have rolled along and they've become more successful, they've found ways of sort of justifying not only their success, but their previous life. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people like this in Orange County, this gospel of prosperity thing, these mega churches. You know, Orange County is actually, I think, has more mega churches per capita than any other county in the country. It's extremely, um, I won't say religious, but I would say it's extremely religiously oriented. That it's a very much a part of community there,
Yeah.
is what mega church you're part of. Um, and I think that the order that provided, or that provides, is what she and her husband, maybe to a lesser extent, but definitely Megan, she's, you know, hitched her wagon to. It helps her organize the mysteries of life, the chaos of life, the unsure, you know, the things she doesn't understand get organized within this thing. And also because she's a woman, Uh, I think she probably needs it more. We talk a lot about white women in this culture and, the way white women vote, and, their tendency to go more conservative and it's not because they don't, believe in necessarily the things that they might otherwise believe in, like gay rights and LGBTQ rights, and it's because they're protecting themselves. They want to keep that status.
Yeah.
They want to keep their status in the world, and this is part of what. And it's ironic because, of course, in doing so, they reduce their status, just naturally by default. But that's kind of, I think that's sort of on a broad spectrum, that's kind of what we're talking about. And then we can, when you're looking at what person, you can, sort of go in and see like, well, why do they need that? And what are they afraid of? And do you know what I mean? And exactly how are they being protected? Stuff like that.
It is, and it is sometimes that, voting against your own best interest kind of thing. If I'm like, if white women could
If she even
deviate
votes.
from white men a little
Right.
bit,
Right. But I
then they
mean,
would
if
have
she
that power.
even votes,
Yeah, if even, yeah.
Yeah.
How has it been working with the young actors that play your children, Uly Schlesinger and Chloe East? Because
It
your
has
guys have
been,
most of your scenes are together and they're just on fire.
I just love them so much. I love them. They are both so lovely and dear and smart and professional. I mean, they know their lines, they are on time, they're just fantastic young people, and I just adore them. I love Chloe so much, and I love Uly so much. I mean, they're just, I don't know, they're just sweet and totally game and up for the challenge and up for the work, which they, thank goodness, because this show is hard on them. They've got, I mean, they're in all the time.
Yeah.
But they're just lovely. I mean, and that goes for all of the kids, all of the cast. I mean, they're not really kids, technically. They're like, most
Yeah.
of them are in their early 20s, but still, I guess, they're kids, I guess.
Yeah.
But they're all fantastic. They're all loving and dear and just wonderful actors, and I really adore them.
What do you think that you've learned from your Gen Z co-stars, but more importantly, what do you think they've learned from you?
Oh God, I don't think much yet. I don't think they have, I don't think there's much they need to learn from me, particularly. Um, but, and I don't know, I mean, look, for me, it's all about, it's not direct because, we don't hang out. We see each other on the set. We don't hang out. Mostly because we're working and they're exhausted, and also the COVID. So,
Yeah.
we have all these like testing and masks and everything. So hanging out outside of work is like not possible. Um, but no, I think from Gen Z in general, I think this openness and this sense of confidence in believing in who you are, in not being afraid, in knowing that the person who's afraid is the crazy one. It's this self-assuredness that I see, that doesn't, that obviously is curious about life, but that doesn't ask approval, from an older generation. That's something I really sort of love, and I really admire about this generation. It gives me hope. It really does give me hope. I mean, if anything, I feel like these kids are forging a much more beautiful, inclusive, exciting future for all of us that we
Yeah.
all get to benefit from,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, I think maybe that.
And that must be pretty thrilling as somebody who grew up in the industry and as a young actor too, and just the differences between those times and their ability to have that, because I mean none of it would be there
Absolutely.
without those that came before them. Although I still feel like
Absolutely.
you could, you know, sit on the stairs between takes and you know, talk about, oh, I worked with John Wick and the Joker, so let me tell you some
Ah,
stories.
yeah, I mean, you know, that kind of thing is just it never comes up
Yeah.
somehow. We just kind of are, you know, we're equals in the work sense, you know. That it just never comes up. Maybe we might tell each other funny stories, but it's never a feeling of let me sit down here on the steps with me, youngin, and I'll tell you a tale. You know, it just I'm not really like that anyway. So, you know,
Yeah.
I always forget that I'm 50, you know what I mean?
Tell me
It's like
about
I
it.
got all the benefits of being 50 and none of the drag, you know?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
At the top, we mentioned that the second part of the first season is coming out in just a couple of weeks.
June
Uh, is
17th.
June 17th. Is there anything that you want to tease about Megan that you can?
I don't know what I'm allowed to tease, really.
Oh,
I don't know what you know, I mean, they're so like, you know, we keep it all so close to the vest over there. But I think you're going to see Megan have a little bit of whew, a little bit of a revealing moment. She's going to be revealed as something that I'm not even sure what it is,
hmm,
but it's coming.
I
It's
love that.
coming, and it's a little scary, and it's a little cringy, a little embarrassing, but also kind of like a little heartbreaking too.
Well, that's generation in a nutshell. So I think that sounds fantastic.
Good,
I love that. Um,
good.
Before we go, and as a total sidebar, I just wanted
Mhm.
to mention your work in Mass. Uh,
Thank you so much.
and
Thank you.
I'm so glad that Bleecker Street picked it up. Uh,
Thank you.
I cannot wait for people to see it. You
So
are.
you were able to see it?
I saw it at Sundance.
Great.
It is absolutely next level work, and
Thank
from
you.
everyone,
Everyone,
everyone.
literally, truly.
But I mean, I adore how easily you can go from comedy to drama to theater, television, musical. I mean, really,
Thank you.
really, it's incredible. But I mean,
Thank you.
this is
We're
this is the
all very,
amazing
very
part.
proud of that movie. And we really feel it. I mean, we feel that it's just a beautiful movie. It's just, you know, we made it in 9 days, and, you know, we were all very, I mean, we're all sort of bonded for life from that experience. And so I'm so glad that you liked it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know, I think this is kind of the one of the things that's really great about you is that you pick projects that you think that you have a something to say about. And I think the film tackles a subject in a way that we have not seen before, with an
That's right.
intimacy that we haven't seen before, and
Right.
without any exploitation. And I think that's why it's
None. Yes, it's incredibly well done. And it's not a film necessarily about what people might think it's about.
yeah,
And it's about what comes next.
yeah,
It's about what comes next,
yeah,
and what it does to people. And I think that is important. I think that's the most important thing, in a way, really, to learn about, and to have empathy for, and to hear from those people. It's very important. So thank you.
absolutely. Martha, this has been an absolute treat and an honor.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I, I thank you so much.
Oh, I
So
appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
please stream Generation, and then the second season, part of the season is June 17th. Get
Hmm.
ready.
Yay.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you.
I
Bye.